Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And we're going to talk a little boating today, right?
Yes,
We've
sir.
got Captain Chris Smith with us here, boat captain, and you were in law enforcement for about 40 years.
37 plus.
37.
Yeah.
So I figured we actually met at a social, and we got to talking, and you were telling some stories, and I said, we got to get you on the Community Spotlight Show, because that's
the guy of many stories.
that's
Yes.
right, absolutely, because that's what makes the Spotlight Show so good, is all these stories. So you go by Captain Chris Smith.
Yes.
You've got a master license in being a boat captain. What does that mean to have a master license?
Man, I have my 100-ton master license, basically that I can operate a vessel up to 100 ton in gross weight, displacement gross weight. So, you know, on Lake of the Ozarks, I can drive any boat, even the celebration boats.
Right.
And everything. So it's a good rating. There's not a lot of guys that have 100 ton. I'm not sure how many of us there is on the lake.
How many of those boats are there on the lake, 100 ton?
Well, there's a lot of big boats on the lake now. I
Yeah.
mean, you're up to in the 70s now with boats, and a lot of 63s, and I drove a 58 a lot this year.
Dang. So is it harder to drive a boat the bigger it gets? Is it easier to drive a boat the bigger it gets? How does that work?
To me, it's easier because I like the bigger vessels.
Yeah.
I learned that early on, you know, once I was in them, and they're smooth, they're easy to operate. They're just, in essence, a slow-moving giant when you go into dock.
Yeah.
You take your time.
And they literally leave a big wake behind them,
Yes,
right?
they
It's little
do.
boats
Very-
like mine that are bobbing in the
Yeah.
water like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you usually have wave runners around you,
Yeah, because they're
entertaining you
jumping
in the back.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what is the largest boat that you've driven on the Lake of the Ozarks?
Celebration, which is, an 80-foot vessel.
Okay. Now, is that a pontoon or is that a V-boat?
It's a flat bottom.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's twin diesel engine, it's flat bottom.
And I've actually heard with some of those bigger boats, they are easier to drive and to park because they've got like thrusters on the side and stuff. Is that
Yep.
true?
Yes, like the Celebration does not have any thrusters for
Really?
an 80-foot boat, but it maneuvers around very good from being a flat bottom boat. Of course, you know which direction you turn the wheel and which motors that you use to pull you one way or another, but it will almost go completely sideways without any problems.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I first drove it.
Do you get nervous?
Very intimidating big boat. But,
Yeah. Do you get nervous like they're, come on over, drive the boat, and you're going, oh man, we'll see how this goes.
yeah, when you get on the Celebration, you know, Joe was a good guy to work for, but my stress level did go way up when I was on it. You know?
What is the difference between a good boat driver and a bad boat driver?
Taking your time and using neutral. Neutral is your friend coming into dock.
Okay.
Pulling out of a dock, unfortunately, there's lots of folks that need some lessons out there, and I enjoy doing that part of it.
So you give lessons?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much enjoy that. It's very satisfying, you know, when you spend a couple hours or 3 hours with a person and get them to operate their boat much better than they did before they showed up.
I'm kind of surprised at the number of people, whether it's like vacationers that come to the lake that rent a boat and they've never driven a boat in their life, they don't know anything about it, or people that actually live here and have lived here for a long time and they don't really know how to drive a boat either.
Yes.
Do you run across that a lot?
Yeah. You know what, when we're, usually when you pull into a dock, say, up at the cave, and the people that you're chartered for the day go up there, you hang around the boat on the dock and talk with everybody. And I've always been surprised when people pull up, and on a rental pontoon, of course, you can always tell the rental pontoons, of course, the last numbers on it are RP, so you know that's a rental
pontoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I can always tell because they've got their
the fenders on the side.
out. Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But they'll ask like what mile marker we at, and which arm is this, and it's a little shocking on a busy Saturday that you're kind of out there. I mean, I had to give some folks from Nebraska once in a pontoon my cell number because they were that lost and having that much trouble.
Really?
Yeah, where they called, I got them the a couple of the apps you can do, the LOZ and some others that we have around, and to try to help them figure out
where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
That's.
They knew they'd made it to the cave, but other than that, they didn't know really where they were.
It's kind of scary, though. Should there be more? I mean, like, you have to get a license to drive a boat on the lake. Should there be more of that, or is it okay that it's just so easy to rent a boat, get out there and run around, and if you crash, you crash?
I mean, us captains, in the Missouri Captain Association, we push training and lessons, and sometimes it doesn't take much, a couple hours.
Yeah.
People really start to pick up, things that you show them within a couple, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And, we wish badly that they were, for safety reasons, the safety of everybody out there, that they would get more lessons.
Yeah, because I mean, every year there's some sort of a tragic story. I think a couple years ago it was a young child was kind of chewed up in the propeller because the dad didn't think, I shouldn't turn the boat on when the kids are in the water, right?
Yeah.
He obviously didn't know much about boats, but you hear heartbreaking stories like that, and it's just kind of a lack of understanding of what's going on.
Training and education will get you panic if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't have those training and education, when something happens, you panic.
Yeah. So we're talking with Boat Captain Chris Smith, and just talking some of the ins and outs of boating and some fun stories. He was also in law enforcement for 37 years. We'll talk about that. We'll be back with Captain Chris with more right after this. Central Ozarks Medical Center, voted Missouri's best and best at the lake, is recruiting team members due to growth. Amazing employment opportunities for both medical and non-medical positions with competitive salaries and outstanding perks. For more information, go to the Careers tab at centralozarks.org. COMC for the best medical, dental, and behavioral health care. Join a leader. Join our team. COMC, where your health is our mission. If it's happening at the lake, it's happening on Lake TV. From the Polar Plunge to festivals, parades, Aquapalooza, and boat shows, Lake TV has it all. Even the granddaddy of them all, the shootouts. If you're looking for places to party, things to do, or even a new home to move into, you've gotta love Lake TV. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show. We're talking with Captain Chris Smith. He is a master licensed boat captain, Lake of the Ozarks. And you were in law enforcement for over 37 years, I think in Illinois, right?
Yes.
Yeah, as a sheriff or a policeman, or what did you do?
I started my career at 18 years old in corrections.
Okay.
And was in corrections for almost 23, rose to the rank of captain. In the Department of Corrections, did a little moving around, opened up a few new prisons. And, my father was a state trooper, and the law enforcement other side was always in my blood.
Yeah.
And, approached the current sheriff in my county, which was Fayette. I grew up in Bond and migrated to Fayette. They were adjoining counties along Interstate 70 in Illinois. And walked in, and he asked me what I was looking to do, and I said I want to be a deputy. And the next thing I knew, I was at the training academy, and
wow,
and there I was.
Yeah, it's like it was meant to be.
It was
or something.
meant to be.
And you brought me this, which is really cool. It kind of looks like a sheriff's badge, So,
Yep.
And what is this?
Those are challenge coins. A lot of departments have challenge coins and pass out and share with other departments. We give them, we did a lot of talking in the schools. We'll pass them out to the kids, and it's a really neat item. We always got donations for printing them, and I was lucky. There's a there's an error on that one, and I got.
Oh, you gave me the one with an error on it.
Yep.
And you also brought me a shirt here. Look at that. You know, it's pretty cool, right?
Pretty cool stuff right there.
Yeah. So it's Captain Chris, and you've got lessons and charters. How does that work? So you're a boat captain on the Lake of the Ozarks. You give lessons, right? And you drive boats, charter. So do people hire you and your boat, or do you drive their boat, or how does that work?
Yeah, I drive other boats. Don't use mine for chartering.
Okay.
But they'll call me to drive their own. They'll call me and say, "Hey, we rented a boat. We'd like you to be the captain." Basically, by the Coast Guard ruling and stuff, is you know, they charter the boat, and then with a contract, and then they have another contract with the captain.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little funny gray areas how we have to make sure we're doing everything right.
Yeah.
You know, the Coast Guard is definitely our friend down here. Since they've come down to the lake, it's been very, very positive.
Is that who licensed you? Is the Coast Guard, not necessarily the Highway Patrol?
No, we're licensed. We're federally licensed through the U.S. Coast Guard.
Okay. Well, and I thought I was making you a big TV star here on the Spotlight Show, but you're already a television veteran. You were just telling me you were on, what's the show you were on?
Murder in the Heartland.
Murder in the Heartland.
The Killing Kind
Wow.
is the episode.
So they contacted you. There was obviously a murder in your jurisdiction.
Yep. We didn't have many, but we had some as my tenure as sheriff.
Yeah.
And
so they come and they put a camera in your face for
yes, they
2
did.
days or whatever?
9.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that a little stressful?
It's a little stressful,
Yeah.
yes.
Did you catch the guy?
Yes. Yeah, it was a love triangle.
Oh, okay.
And,
So,
you know, he used a sledgehammer to do it
wow.
while the guy was sleeping.
Oh,
So it was,
wow. Did you see a lot of stuff like that as a sheriff?
Unfortunately, yes.
Does that affect you? Does that haunt you in life? I mean, do you wake up?
You know, as a police officer, you can ask any that you'll never forget your first fatal accident that you went to.
Yeah.
And to me, I can recall my first fatal accident that I pulled up on like it was yesterday.
I bet.
You know, thank God a lot of them are distant memories and they never get re-energized or you remember them again, but that first one is definitely always there.
You have to have a certain constitution to be able to do that job, right?
Yes.
I had a friend who was a life flight helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. I mean,
True hero.
the stories
Definitely.
he could tell, because
Yep.
he saw everything.
Yep.
You know, and the same thing.
He sees the worst of the worst. When you're an officer on an accident scene and you hear the helicopter coming, it's almost like a relief that you know more help is coming and we're going to get these folks out of here and try to get them saved. And when you hear the sound of the helicopter, your stress level goes down and you know things are going to get better.
Right, help is on the way.
Help is coming.
Kind of a thing. Wow, okay. And did you enjoy it? I mean, you were in law enforcement for over 37 years.
Yeah.
Tough. We talked about, you know, you see a lot of things. What did you enjoy that though?
Yes, I did.
You did.
I was very happy to do my job every day.
And you were actually a sheriff too,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, elected sheriff.
So you had to actually be a politician of sorts.
Yes, sir. Wasn't thrilled about the politician side of life. I was, you know, an outcast. You know, Chicago run things a little different than Sheriff Smith would in Fayette County. So
was that
I
hard?
was very firm, fair, consistent.
Yeah. Because Chicago's so big, it has more votes than the whole rest of Illinois.
They run the entire state.
Right. So even though the rest of the state outside of Chicago can be conservative, it's got liberal rules because it's pretty much run by Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're running out of time. Down to the final few seconds here. If people are interested in hiring you as their boat captain, chartering you, or getting lessons, how do they go about finding you?
My website is ridewithcaptainchris.com. I'm on Facebook, Chris Smith, or Ride with Captain Chris on Facebook. Or my telephone number is 618-367-9782.
Okay, great. Thank
I'm
you so
available
much.
all the time.
I think we're going to have to do another show because we didn't even get to many stories
Man, we
here,
missed some of it.
Absolutely. So he's Captain Chris Smith. He brought me a coin. I got a new shirt. I'm just loving life right now.
You made out today.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. And thank you for joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.